My girlfriend 19 female of 5 months is won't answer her phone, and I 24 female think her friend 20 female is sending texts as her. Am I blowing this out of proportion? My girlfriend, let's call her Kathy, is off at college. She lives in a dorm on her campus, which is an hour and a half away from my house. She comes to visit me on weekends. A bit rough on gas budget, but it works for us. We actually met at college. She was a freshman and I was a senior, plus taking a couple final classes to fulfill my credit requirement so I could graduate. I finished last semester and she's still going. Long distance hasn't been an issue so far. We just text a lot and spend the weekends making up lost time. She's the sweetest, most easygoing person I know. But today, something weird happened. We normally text throughout the day. We texted during the morning. Then she had class, so I stopped for a couple hours. Normally she texts me at lunch, but she didn't. I texted her and she didn't respond. I figured maybe she was busy. I texted her a couple times an hour later when she normally studies. Nothing. I started getting worried at dinner time. I called her and she didn't pick up, which is really unusual for her. I started texting things like, "Are you okay? And please pick up." She didn't answer. So I started searching through my desk for my address book to find the numbers for her friends. I figured maybe her phone was dead or broken. But while I was searching, I finally got a response from her phone. It was, "I am okay, sorry my phone was on silent." But Kathy doesn't text like that. She texts with capitals and complete sentences with normal punctuation. And she adds smiley faces to every single text, which I tease her about all the time. I texted, "Are you sure you're okay?" And she said, "Everything's fine, my name." That really caught my attention, because Kathy exclusively calls me by a nickname. Most of my friends do. So I dug out my address book and found the phone number of Kathy's roommate Lauren. I texted her, "Hey, this is Kathy's girlfriend. Do you know if she's okay?" She responded immediately with, "She's fine, she's right here in our room with me," no capitals or punctuation, ending the sentence with an ellipsis just like Kathy's weird texts. I think she was the one sending texts from Kathy's phone. I called Kathy's phone again and whoever has her phone rejected the call before it was done with the first ring. I got another text from Kathy saying, "Seriously, my name, stop worrying about me, I'll talk to you later," followed by "good night." Am I just being silly? I feel something really weird is going on, but I don't know what it could be. I don't think she's cheating on me. From what she's told me about Lauren, she seems like a totally normal person. I don't have any specific suspicions. I just feel like something's gone wrong, and I don't know what to do. Should I badger Kathy's phone until she actually calls me or someone tells me what's going on? Should I just let it go? I'm at a loss here. I don't want to be the weird clingy girlfriend, but this seriously isn't like her. Too long, didn't read. My girlfriend away at college won't answer her phone, and all her texts are in the style her roommate uses, and not the way she actually texts. Am I being ridiculous, or should I keep trying to contact her? Edited update. Hey guys. Thanks for the responses. It calmed me down some. The situation has changed. Now I need more advice. This morning I did what I always do as part of my morning routine. I texted Kathy. I'd nearly forgotten about yesterday. After 20 minutes of no response, I broke down and tried calling her. The call wasn't even rejected. It went to her voicemail. I left a short message asking if she was still planning on coming over this weekend. I decided to take your guys' advice and leave her alone from then on. I still felt like something was wrong, but I figured maybe I was misreading it and she just needed space. I tried to focus on work stuff. Stuff's going on in my personal life. But it is still a Thursday. And then, at about noon, I got a text from a mutual friend of me and Kathy. Ben. The exact words, Ben, hey. My nickname. How are you holding up? Me. What do you mean? Ben. I mean. With Kathy. I called him immediately and asked what was going on. Because I couldn't get a hold of Kathy. There was like 5 seconds of just stunned silence, and then Ben dropped the bomb. Kathy is in the hospital. I tried to interrogate him, but he didn't know much. Just that she was having some kind of emergency, and couldn't take visitors. He said he had heard it from her roommate this morning. He apologized because he legit thought I already knew. He was actually texting me because he wanted to know if there were any updates. I called Kathy and got voicemail. I called Lauren and got another instant rejection. I called her parents' house and finally got someone. Her father said that a nurse had called early that morning, and her mother had gone out there to see her. I tried to ask more questions, but her father really doesn't like me and refused to tell me anything or even give me Kathy's mom's cell number. I've texted a couple of her friends. But like Ben, they couldn't tell me anything. So my girlfriend is in the hospital, and that is literally all I can find out about the situation. She's been there since yesterday afternoon. That's what Ben guessed, and she's still there today, and still hasn't contacted me in any way. What do I do? Do I drive out there? We've only been dating for 5 months. I have no idea how serious this is. It's a 1-hour drive. And I still don't know why her roommate went out of her way to hide this from me. Does Kathy not want me to know she's in the hospital for some reason? And even if that's the case, why couldn't she just lie to me herself? Or did her roommate go crazy and hurt her, and that's why she's in the hospital, and now her roommate is trying to cover it up? Everything is so frustratingly vague. I feel lost. Any advice or insight is appreciated right now. Another update. Kathy had a seizure in class. Went to the hospital. Told Lauren not to worry me, and Lauren misinterpreted it as telling her to lie to me. Ben tracked her down and told her off. I went out and stayed in a hotel and visited with Kathy, and also found out from her mother what was going on. She has a rare genetic disorder which I won't name because that would pretty much instantly identify her. Her mom is warming up to me. Even if her dad still kinda hates me. Kathy got out of the hospital after a couple weeks, but has to keep going in for checkups on the regular to make sure it's under control. Kathy's recovered mostly. She isn't supposed to do strenuous activity. But she's doing good and managed to do well enough on her finals to make up for the work she missed and pass her classes. She apologized for the whole thing. For not telling me about the genetic disease, and for saying something that Lauren misinterpreted as lie to her. I've forgiven her completely. I absolutely don't think it's her fault that any of this happened. I don't even really blame Lauren for the first few lies to me. She was under a lot of stress and didn't know what was going on. I do absolutely blame her for continuing to lie after she found out I was Kathy's girlfriend, and for the awful text she sent when Ben confronted her. Hey, I'm really sorry, but Kathy is in the hospital, and it's bad. She told me not to tell you sorry because what the duck. But I was willing to put that behind us because I'm not going to interact with Lauren much. And then Lauren went insane. Lauren started sending me texts begging me to talk to her and let her apologize. I finally relented and let her take me out for coffee. And she all but threw herself at my feet and said she knew. She ducked up and asked for my forgiveness. I awkwardly accepted and she thanked me profusely, and we parted ways. Kathy moved out of the dorm and moved back into her parents' house. I thought everything was over. And then Lauren found out that Kathy doesn't intend to ask for her as a roommate next year. And stuff hit the fan. Lauren started blowing up Kathy's phone, demanding to know why Kathy hated her and saying that she had already apologized for everything, and why was she being so cruel and unforgiving, and just generally making Kathy feel like crap. I called her intending to ask her to stop. And she started sobbing over the phone and told me she has a crush on Kathy and a crush on me, and she can't bear never seeing either of us again, and to give her another chance. I was really startled. So I think I just stammered out something about how I forgave her, but she needed to stop harassing Kathy. She worded it vaguely. But I think she agreed. I hung up. She did stop incessantly texting Kathy's phone. So I thought it was over again. Now today Ben texted me asking if Kathy and I had broken up. I told him no and asked where he got that from. And he said that Lauren is telling everyone, including a lot of our mutual friends, that Kathy and I weren't together anymore and Lauren was dating me long distance. I have no idea how to react to this. Lauren seemed like such a normal person. And now she's doing this crap. I told Kathy. And she said it seemed really out of character for Lauren and looked worried. Lauren lives far away, in a different part of the state. So we're probably never going to run into her again, if we don't want to. But she lives near a bunch of my college friends who I did intend to keep in contact with. Kathy and I hung around in the same circles. And after I graduated she would sometimes bring Lauren with her to events, because Lauren didn't seem to have a ton of friends. So, Lauren knows all of these people, and I'm sure she's talking to them. I don't know if I should clear it up, or just try to ignore her or meet with her, and hash this out or. I've never been in a situation like this before. Last and weirdest update. Lauren fake name was roommates with my current girlfriend Kathy fake name in college. College is now out. And Lauren lives about 3 ISH hours away from Kathy, and I but near a lot of our mutual college friends. I barely know her. Over the past month Lauren has started to become obsessed with both me and Kathy. Especially me. I still do not know what incited this. She found out that Kathy was not going to request her as a roommate again come fall, and started spamming Kathy's phone with texts, calling it a betrayal of their friendship. Kathy was very uncomfortable with it, and is bad with confrontation, so I called Lauren up and asked her to stop harassing Kathy. She broke down crying and said that she had a crush on me and also had a crush on Kathy. But when I pressed she did agree to stop contacting Kathy. The text stopped. So she at least respected the request. Then a mutual friend told me that Lauren has been spreading around the idea that she's dating me. Kathy and I got together and called her on speakerphone, and Kathy asked her why she was doing that. Lauren tried to convince Kathy that I really was dating Lauren. Her story was that I'd told Lauren I'd broken up with Kathy. And if I actually hadn't, then I was a liar and cheating on Kathy with Lauren without Lauren's knowledge. But Kathy kept pushing and eventually Lauren had a meltdown and started admitting some horrible things about how she's been treated like crap by past boyfriends, and now she's trying to become a lesbian. Kathy suggested she get therapy and Lauren screamed that she wasn't insane and hung up. That's the last actual interaction with her either of us have had. She will not answer her phone. This was about 10 days ago. 2 days ago. Lauren drove 3 hours from her house to my parents' house and convinced them to let her in. She told them that she was my new girlfriend and they thought it was weird but let her in, and she had dinner with them. She was supposedly friendly and perfectly pleasant to my parents. Talked the whole time about how great I was and how she was dating me. And left without incident. She didn't do anything wrong. But I still find it terrifying that she somehow tracked down my parents' address and took a 6-hour round trip just to try to convince them she's dating me. This is really freaking me out. Lauren seemed like such a normal person from Kathy's descriptions in college and the couple times I met her. And that's how she comes off to everyone else. 2. A lot of people have started giving me weird looks and implying that I am the one lying when I deny that I am dating her now. She hasn't made any threats. She stopped contacting me and my girlfriend when I requested it. She hasn't come near me personally. But she drove for 3 ducking hours to try to convince my family that she's dating me. Does this qualify as harassment or stalking? Can I get a restraining order? I am afraid of what she'll do next. But I don't know if I have enough of a case to take any preemptive action against her yet. And I am very afraid it won't be taken seriously because all of the people involved are women. I've heard horror stories about the police disregarding harassment and even assault acts in the lesbian community. I am losing sleep over this. Please help. Thank you. No more updates were posted. After reading the post. That ending terrifying is to read. It is. I wrote it because the story is 6 years old. I hope there was no need to update because it all ended with a restraining order. It doesn't sound like anything I've heard about on any murder podcast I listen to, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume OP and Kathy lived happily ever after and Lauren got all the therapy she could ever want. I love this ending. I mean, this is the completely wrong reaction, but if I was trying to impersonate a friend over text, I would read over the previous texts, so I could get a sense of the tone, and do a better job of it. I also would never do it. But still. Don't worry, you ain't weird, I was thinking the same. I pegged Lauren as having a crush on the OP or Kathy from the first post. No way did Lauren misinterpret what Kathy said. She was actively deliberately lying to OP and trying to pose as Kathy. I bet if OP hadn't been told that Kathy was on the hospital, Lauren would have tried to break them up. What's so funny in a no less terrifying way is that she didn't even attempt to match texting styles. Like, if you're gonna go full crazy and impersonate someone, at least put in more effort into the impersonation. She was crazy. Not smart. Second story. Boyfriend won't stop watching our new neighbor out the window. For context, me 39 female and my boyfriend 40 male have lived together for the last decade and have been dating since high school. We live in a small town and are happy together. My boyfriend is a manager at a local store. I don't have much of an idea of how he acts at his work, but I am friends with some of the other managers and they have their complaints, haha. Mainly that he passes work he should be doing off onto subordinates a lot. As a person he is not cruel, but he can be a bit short, admittedly a bit lazy, and rude to some in an I don't care how you feel, but won't intentionally upset you type of way. This will be important layer. A couple months ago, a new family, with maybe 3 kids, moved in across the road. It just so happens that one of the kids, 16 and 18 female, works in the same store as my boyfriend. I'll call her Kyle. The area of the town we live in has the houses very close together, with narrow streets and low walls around yards. Because of this, we can see right into our new neighbor's shed. It has a glass roof and wooden walls, so we can only see in from upstairs or from this one spot in the lounge that gives us a view through the shed door window. I see Kyle in the shed all the time. Almost whenever I pass a window, I don't look for her, and Jay don't stop to watch her. It's just easy to notice. I have seen her play instruments in there before, and if you listen carefully you can hear it. Sometimes it looks like she's just sitting in there chilling, but I don't know. In any case, she's in the often. I don't know what else she does in there because I don't look on purpose. My problem is that I think my boyfriend is intentionally watching her through our windows. I'll go upstairs to the bedroom and catch him looking out the window in that direction. He's even started sitting on the sofa beside the window in the lounge, which he normally doesn't like to sit, which is the only spot in the lounge you can see into the shed from. I realize this doesn't sound like much, which is why I am posting, but it's happened Jang multiple times a day. Initially I thought that maybe he was just listening to her play instruments, but then I'll catch him look myself, and she'll just be chilling, not making any music, adding fuel to fire. My friends who work at the store with him have mentioned to me how he helps her out even when she doesn't need it, and is very patient and kind to her. This is a bit weird, please refer to start of post. I told myself that it's because she's a new start, been there 3 months I think. Or because she's young. But if I am being truthful with myself, they have new starts all the time, and the majority are young. And I've never heard of him acting like this before. What do I do? Does he just have a crush, or do I need to say something? Maybe this isn't something I need to worry about. Thank you for advice. Edit. Okay. I am getting an awful lot of not very helpful comments. It's creepy. I get that. Why else would I be posting here? I am asking, what do I do? Do I talk to him? Do I go across the road and talk to her or her parents? Do I talk to my friends who work with him? Counseling. Do I break up with him? I am looking for advice. That's creepy is not advice. Update. Trigger warning. Talk of suicide and homophobia. Thank you to everyone who offered advice. This update could be a good or a bad one depending on how you look at it, haha. So when my boyfriend got home from work, I sat him down and told him I wanted to speak to him. I said that I wasn't accusing him of anything, but he needed to give me an explanation for why he kept watching Kyle, and why he was treating her the way he was at work. He said he was sorry, that he hadn't thought about how what he was doing would look from my point of view. One of the people boyfriend works with, Lee, is Kyle's uncle. I don't know Lee well, but he's best friends with boyfriend. My boyfriend told me that Kyle has been on temporary sick leave from work because Lee caught her with evidence of self-harm on her arms. Lee spoke to her about it and found out that she is a lesbian and is struggling because her parents don't support that type of thing. Her parents have been told that Kyle is on holiday from work rather than sick leave because they can't be told about the self-harm without telling them about her sexuality, which could be dangerous for her. This leave is temporary until Lee figures out how to help her. But because they can't tell her parents, Lee has asked boyfriend to keep an eye on her as much as he can since we live next to each other. Boyfriend then told me that part of the reason he has been taking this so seriously is because 10 years ago, his cousin committed suicide because he was gay. I was a bit upset that he hadn't told me this before. I knew that he died, and I attended the funeral, but I thought it had been because of depression that he killed himself. He explained to me that it was because he wasn't sure if I was homophobic or not. I come from a very conservative Christian family, and while I admittedly was homophobic when I was younger, I am ashamed of myself for that and would like to think I have grown as a person since then. He then told me that this situation had made him realize there was faults in our relationship. This was partly because he didn't know that I was a safe person to speak to about what Kyle was going through, and also because watching Kyle reminded him of how I used to be. Kyle plays instruments in her shed, as I mentioned in the original post, and he said that seeing her so passionate about music reminded him of when we were teenagers, when music had been my greatest passion, and I had wanted to pursue a career in it. He said that he thinks we both have lost our way a bit since we were young, and I have to agree. I have no passions and no hobbies anymore. I work in a job I hate, and I see now that having both lost ourselves so badly has had more of an effect on our relationship than I thought. We have decided that we will be going to couples counseling. I will be signing myself up to some music classes, and boyfriend is thinking about going to individual therapy to help him work through some of the guilt he has over his cousin's suicide. In terms of Kyle, I have suggested to my boyfriend that we put some money towards helping Lee in paying for therapy for her. We are comfortable with money and should be able to afford to help her. Now that boyfriend and Lee know I am not homophobic, we can work together to figure out the best way to help her without putting her in danger with her parents. Thank you for everyone's advice. I hope this update will do, haha. P.S. Before anyone says anything about it, I have confirmed that what my boyfriend said to me is true with both Lee and a friend who works with them. So I know this is not just some excuse he's made up. Thank you. Additional info. I just want to quickly answer a question a lot of people have been messaging me with. A lot of you are wondering why my boyfriend and me have never discussed our views on gay people and things like that. We met as kids. And we have dated since we were teenagers. Gay rights wasn't something that was commonly talked about 30 years ago. And we were just kids when we met. Also, we live in a small, quietly conservative, very Christian area. No one here talks about LGBT people because most of the people here unfortunately are homophobic. Just not in a loud, protest way that gets people talking. This is the way I was when I was young. And I apologize for that. I only realized in the last few years that my dislike for gay people was unfounded. Yes, I recognize that mid-30s is far too late to realize homophobia is as horrible as it is. But better late than never, right? My boyfriend was similar. And never thought about LGBT people until what happened with his cousin. He of course has supported them since then. But he didn't tell me his cousin was gay because he didn't know how I would react, and he was scared to lose me as well. I don't know how I would have reacted if he told me 10 years ago his cousin was gay. I would like to think that it would have given me the push I needed to grow up like I have now. But I don't know. To all the LGBT people who have read my post, I am sorry for ever thinking you were less than. And I love you. That poor girl. I hope she ends up being okay. If me and my fiancé had dated when we were that age, we would have been the biggest disaster I could possibly imagine. Both of us are hugely different people from 10 years ago. I am glad we met when we did. We fit properly now. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.